In today's Leeds news, Mateo Joseph nominated for reward, Andrea RADRIZZANI Sampdoria interest, Stuart McINSTRY to exit Leeds, rival clubs to sue Everton, West Ham want Orta, and youths on England duty. Hey folks, Jer here on Wednesday the 17th of May. Hope you're all having a reasonably good week so far. It's a bit to get through today, so we won't take too long. But just to say the usual thing, one a week. If you like the channel, if you want to support the channel, you can do so by liking the video, sharing it, or subscribing to the channel. We went past 10,000 subscribers last week. We're now on 10,500 subscribers. So just a massive thank you to everyone who has supported the channel at any point over the last 9 months, which is just crazy to say out loud. So again, massive thanks. Also, we did a positive stream last night on Ollie Ward's channel, which will be linked up here. Myself, Max from Leeds lately, and Ollie had a chat about the reasons why Leeds are staying in the Premier Division. So you can check that out as well if you want to. Anyway, let's crack on. Let's get into the news, and we'll start off with the a good news story this morning. Mateo Joseph has been nominated for the PL2 Division 1 Player of the Year. Mateo Joseph has scored 16 goals in 21 appearances this year, including 3 hat-tricks, and has captained the Leeds side back to promotion into PL2 Division 1. Really good season for him. He's looked really sharp in front of goal and is really stepping up as a leader with the underage setup. So hopefully bigger things to come from Mateo Joseph. I think with the kind of finishing ability he has in and around the box, I think he'll do okay. I think he'll do all right. Let's get on to one of the main stories today, and this one's around Andrea RADRIZZANI. And over the last couple of weeks, we've heard news that he was involved with a consortium interested in buying Inter Milan, and then changed tack and looked like he was going to move away from buying another club altogether. Well, according to reports in Italy and from newspaper Il Secolo, they are claiming that Andrea RADRIZZANI is interested in buying Sampdoria. What they say, though, is that time is against them. There is a shareholders meeting in 2 weeks' time, within the next 2 weeks, and RADRIZZANI would need to get his ducks in a row and be able to submit some sort of a formal interest in that period of time. Sampdoria are believed to be valued in and around £35 million, which would be well below what he would receive for Leeds, even if Leeds got relegated. They do say there is other interest. Another Italian businessman who is a man by the name of Alessandro Bernarba, who is said to have more money than RADRIZZANI, is also interested in buying the club and is said to have been in advanced negotiations with Sampdoria. However, in this report, it does also go on to say, and there's not a huge amount of detail in this, just small bits, but it says that basically Rads will get 420 million for Leeds should Leeds stay in the Premier Division. But then it says, but he'll get 150 if Leeds go down, which is the first time anyone has put a figure on what Leeds will be worth if they're relegated. There's been rumours of what the cost of Leeds would be, but nobody has ever actually said the takeover might happen in the Championship and that this is what it will cost. So first time that's come out now, I would take it with a pinch of salt. It is from, it's not from the main newspapers in Italy either. It's Il Secolo. So yeah, take a little bit of pinch of salt in there, but on that piece. But in general, apparently RADRIZZANI is still looking at moving away from Leeds United, and we'll have to wait and see what happens there. He hasn't really made a secret about trying to buy a club in Italy. He was looking at Sassuolo at one point as well. So yeah, let's move on and talk about one of the underage players from Leeds who's been out on loan this year, and Stuart McInStry, whose loan at Motherwell started incredibly well, with plenty of goals and plenty of action for the player. However, as the season has gone on, McInStry has dropped further down the pecking order into a mostly unused substitute role with Motherwell. They've had their struggles this season, Motherwell. They've changed managers a couple of times, and he's been unfortunately found himself out of favour. The 20-year-old is expected to leave Leeds United at the end of the season permanently. And as of this morning, according to reports from the York Trading Post, they say that a deal between Leeds and McInStry has already been reached to part ways. They also go on to say that he is expected to join another English club and not a Scottish club. There are some Scottish clubs looking at him as well, but it looks like he will stay in England, but he will leave Leeds at the end of the season. They also go on to say that they expect Coda Drama to leave Leeds as well, but we'll cover that one. There's a bit more meat on the bone on that one. Moving on to rival clubs set to sue Everton. This popped up last season with Burnley, Leeds, basically claiming financial fair play breaches against Everton, and they shouldn't be punished by relegation when Everton are getting away with it. So it seems to pop its head up again in a couple of different ways this time around. And basically, what's happening here is, according to the Daily Mail, Leeds, Nottingham Forest, Southampton, and Burnley will all sue Everton for in and around £300 million in damages. What they say is that the potential of relegation will be worth 100 million to the club getting relegated, and that they believe that due to the publication of Everton's financials this year, they are in breach of the profit and sustainability rules in the Premier League. There is an investigation happening currently into that, but it's taking time, and it does take time. The Mail are saying that the Premier League have been informed by the clubs that they will look to sue Everton should either the commission not take place this year or should they get relegated. But they go on to say then is the clubs are believed to have believed that they are entitled to compensation from Everton for the breaches of financial fair play should allegedly um, Everton be found guilty of this, alleged that Everton have breached for financial fair play. The clubs have also filed to have Everton's disciplinary meeting brought forward. However, the commission that are running this have rejected that and are conducting it at their pace. On the back of that, that's where this claim has come from. On the back of being told that they won't fast track the sanctions, the clubs have decided to go directly to the Premier League and inform the Premier League that they will be suing Everton for potential lost earnings and damages. Ultimately, they say the claim will be brought forward by whichever two clubs join Southampton in relegation. They will be the two clubs that will look for the compensation, and the clubs that stay up will move away from this. But they've all filed in together on this. If you look at the rules, it says that you can't lose more than 105 million over a 3-year period. The initial profit and sustainability financials released by Everton over a 3-year period were 313.5 million. They are allowed some allowances for COVID, and that this spend doesn't include stadiums development, women's teams development. It only involves the senior men's team, so underage isn't included in this. However, Everton did publish their financials for this year and announced this that their losses were 90 million for this year and not the higher end. And basically, what that suggests is or shows that their losses over the last 3 years are 223 million, which is still more than double what the allowance is for profit and sustainability in the Premier League. So Everton claim their innocence on this, say they've done nothing wrong and they're well within the parameters. Other clubs say differently, and as I said, this is all alleged right now, and we'll have to see what comes out. There won't be a decision made on Everton's breaking of the rules or not breaking of the rules this season, so any point deduction or sanctions will likely be next year. But this is dragged on a bit for now 2 seasons, and other clubs have been affected by it. Burnley have bounced back, but not all clubs have. So an interesting one to see. Moving on, let's talk about Victor Orta, funnily enough, and West Ham are said to be interested in bringing in the director of football to them. According to the Telegraph, West Ham are interested in bringing in a new director of football, and Victor Orta is said to be very high on their shortlist. Telegraph say that Orta is on a shortlist of 3 candidates that include Lee Dykes and Thiago Pinto. They're looking at changing their model as they want to move away from the current recruitment model they have and introduce a new director of football that will help them to progress. So, interesting choices, West Ham. Interesting choices. So the best of luck to all 3 of them as they hopefully go on to win something with the England teams this summer. So great to see. And that's going to be it for me, folks. Thanks as always for watching, and I will see you tomorrow morning for more Leeds news. Have a great